Hi everyone. Right then, so here we've got Lucy giving a lovely elephant hug to Samantha. Samantha is an African elephant, Lucy is an Asian elephant. Just so everybody knows, the two species don't mix, they're not supposed to mix. They wouldn't do if they had freedom. But Edmonton Valley Zoo, rather than get two of the same species, got one of each, and then had some odd idea about breeding with them, even though they would end up with having to have two herds in two separate spaces and have just ginormous amount of space that they just don't have, and facilities. So it wasn't the best well thought out plan to start with, and of course it failed. So what happened was Samantha, who's also called Nikanda and called Nikki, there we go, this documentation, she got sent off to America, to North Carolina Zoo, to become part of a breeding herd. If she bred or not, I don't know, I didn't look that up. Doesn't really matter. What matters is she actually ended up in a much nicer place with a herd of elephants. I think they've got about 7 elephants. It does say here though, Lucy's been left behind alone and suffering at Edmonton Valley Zoo, but she's still alive and happy, so that's good. It's nice to have some nice news about these elephants for a change, and to know that not all zoos are bad. Right, but what's happened to Lucy? Well, poor old Lucy. She hasn't got anywhere to roam around. She should have, but she hasn't. She's on concrete, and people who look at her, take pictures of her, don't know how badly concrete hurts her feet, because they just don't read anything. And, you know, that's the extent of the education about elephants in Edmonton. But let's not dwell. So we remember that this was the plan in 2005. Stay in the elephant business, which of course there's all kinds of cons, and that it wasn't going to work. And then send both elephants away, all kinds of cons, that why they need Lucy. It's all about the money. Send Nikki away for breeding, keep Lucy until her death. Still need to maintain elephant facilities. All kinds of, you know, reasons that are absolutely nothing to do with welfare. It's all to do with how much money they can get from the public donations and from the government. And they know that it's illegal at this point to hold one elephant alone, and they know why it's illegal. So that's a really big point. They know that mentally and physically any lone elephant suffers. You know, that's why it's against the law. Otherwise, why would there be a law? So they knew that, and they knew they'd have to be ready to address Kaza, Alza and PETA issues in a proactive manner. Well, who do you know has got elephants, you know, in any circumstance, in a sanctuary or in a zoo, and they actually put in their documentation, be ready, you know, because they already know they're doing something wrong. You know, I don't know why they want to go down this road. They should have sent Lucy away. It says here that she could travel. This is 2005. Right, so what we're going to do now is, we've got 1,000 new pages, I'm not kidding, it is 1,000, of documents. I will just remind everybody, Lucy's travel plan 2022 and 2023, she can travel, despite what the zoo says. We do have documentation. Right, we have got the health record for Lucy, 1980 to March 2009. Oh, one other thing actually, before we start on that task, is the zoo claims Lucy has never been properly conditioned for a move. Now, when she was moved to the Calgary Zoo on 2 separate breeding loans, the zoo said she became stressed during the moves. In fact, and this is what this is all about, it's not about my personal opinion, it's about fact. There's no evidence of this in Lucy's medical records. And ZooCheck actually, when they were doing their court case, talked to elephant keepers at the Calgary Zoo who were there when Lucy arrived, and they said she was not stressed. Now, bear in mind that Lucy didn't have the proper training. You know, facilities then were very basic. You know, there wasn't like the luxury transporters elephants can go on today. You know, today they would move Lucy with expert vets and all kinds of things, and that's why she can travel. But she wasn't carefully conditioned for the moves. And they didn't, and the Valley Zoo just doesn't and never did have the expertise in moving elephants. So there's no factual evidence at all that I've found yet. And even the vets don't know what on earth Valley Zoo is talking about. There's nothing to say that Lucy can't travel. Absolutely nothing. The only people saying it are those paid to say it. And it is that simple, I'm afraid. If you want the right vet to say, no, Lucy can't go, then you hire the right vet to say it. And the vet they hired this year was a zoo breeding vet. So he couldn't even do it if he wanted to. So he can tick a box to say, Lucy can't travel because he can't do it. And it's just that, you know, I'm afraid that's the way it works. But we know when you do hire the good vets, Lucy can travel. Right, health record. So what have we got? I mean, I'll just whiz through this because we've got, oh my God, years and years and years of records, and it's all the same. Foot abscesses, stiffness, soreness, medicine, no flexibility, congested, all kinds of unhappiness. Lucy's taken swings at some of the staff. Mouse breathing is talked about as well. Zoo check. First obtained elephant medical records. After this request, the zoo stopped keeping the detailed record. I mean, you know, it's not exactly honest, is it? You know, if they've got nothing to hide, why are they doing this? If they're, you know, simple question, isn't it? So what have we got here? We've got wheezing and trunk getting worse. And there is some documentation here, and this has probably come on the next video, that says all the people who the Valley Zoo said were contacted about investigating Lucy's breathing, they couldn't provide any records. So that's an interesting turn of events to look into as well. We'll be going into that in another video. But here we've got, as I said, we've got lots of sores, lots of little wounds, lots of pain medication needed for arthritis. And throughout this, Lucy's still not had the arthritis therapy that she's supposed to have. So even vets who have not wanted to move Lucy have prescribed stuff that Lucy's never had. So what have we got here? Oh, it's just lots and lots of pain and stuff going on. There's lumps. You know, oh my God, what's that one say? Outside toenail, right foot, 75% detached. Still pus from the hip lump, hip wound bleeding. I mean, how does this elephant keep getting this hurt? You know, and a lot of this is just through bad husbandry because they don't have the facilities. You know, not all these staff are bad. I just think there's maybe one or two bad apples amongst them that are, you know, and then the rest are just left to get on with it the best they can. And Lucy, a lot of this stuff, she's stiff. She can't move. Where's she supposed to go? You know, this is where she spends 75% of her time. I mean, she's supposed to spend 16 hours a day roaming about 40 acres. And it's not, you're saving her the trouble by feeding her in an enclosure. She needs to go and forage and do to keep fit and healthy. Just like someone, you know, if we all had our home shopping delivered and then we never left our sitting room, well, we're not going to do too well. And it's the same thing. I mean, this is a wild animal. Whether we keep her as a pet or not, she's a wild animal and she needs to move around. You know, otherwise she's a dog on a chain. A dog on a chain can live for the same time as a dog allowed to go out for walks, but they're not going to be happy or healthy about it. So, anyway, let's not get preachy. Here we go. Right, so Lucy's walks. This is quite interesting. Although we've got lots of details about scrapes and anxiety and not eating and all this kind of stuff, she's got some times here where she's really, really unhappy. And then they've got the CBC in for footage, and they've given her extra pain medication because they've got the TV in. That's not exactly honest, is it? If they need to, you know, bump her up with some painkillers. And there's lots of stuff here about she was kicking at her abdomen a lot today. We know that Lucy slaps her trunk when she gets bad colic, and they still won't let the world experts in who have offered for free to help them with Lucy. You know, they're not going to sneak her out or anything. They just want to help Lucy. So there's lots of stuff here about difficulties, in a bratty mood, turning off and on the lights in the office like a poltergeist, trying to step on the bottom line of the fence in the yard. She wouldn't eat or drink. I mean, she's not happy, is she? You know, and that's not my opinion. That's just what's written down here. No browse for 5 weeks. Stomach troubles again. So she's not even fed like an elephant. You know, this is another reason that she needs to go and really graze, you know, but she needs long fresh foliage 16 hours a day. That's not me making it up. That's what an elephant is supposed to eat. And that's what all the world experts say. So here we go. She's not feeling well again. All kinds of things going on that someone is obviously concerned enough to write all this. Late PM on walk, very agitated, bolting, grabbing things, posturing, wanted to be left alone. Does that sound like an elephant who's heavily bonded? Doesn't really, does it? This is quite interesting. Mosquitoes bugging her, dusting during demo. Lethargic, skin cold to touch even after out in the sun. Skin cold. They gave her some more medicine. Breath is worse. So we're leading up here to her feeling really bad. The next day, she met kids with cancer. Now that's a lovely thing to do for the children, but you've got a sick elephant who is really agitated and unhappy. So she did well considering, and the next day she was in a better mood, but she's not well. And she swung at one of the staff. So if you've got an elephant that's not well, it's actually against the Alberta Zoo standards to, you know, have people close to an elephant because of the number of elephants that have broken people's ribs, including children's, in Canada. If you look at the CASA notes and what they have had happen with elephants under their jurisdiction, it's not an impressive list. You know, elephants don't want to be in zoos around people. It's too noisy for them. They hear vibrations through their feet. So the sheer volume of noise in a zoo, literally, that's quite often why you see an elephant sway backwards and forwards. It is just mentally too much for them. So here we are. I mean, you can just see it. There is just time after time. These days, it shouldn't be this many days of problems. And it is literally endless not eating, not drinking, pain medication, foot abscesses, lumps, bumps, problems, bad behaviour. I say bad, it's not really bad. It's not her fault. I mean, you know, she's in a place she shouldn't be. There's nothing in Edmonton for her. I mean, what has she got? She's got climates that, you know, she doesn't like. She's either stood around on concrete being paraded, forced to walk at a terribly slow pace. When does she ever stride out? I've seen Lucy try and take grass off mown grass, and someone's poked her with a bullhook to make her blob some paint on a canvas. You know what? Do we not think enough of Lucy to think, well, do we need that canvas? To be honest, I think if you just left a load of paint pots out and a load of canvases on the grass, everybody's kids would have a far better time just blobbing some paint on it themselves and let Lucy go off and be an elephant. You know, she's not happy, and it says it here. Look at all this. Let's just go through a little bit more, because otherwise we're going to sound like a broken record here. Not sleeping since sound removed. Cut from inside. What does that say? Out from inside. Difficulty breathing through trunk. Lots of head resting. Not laying down to sleep. Tired. Well, if she's got all these problems, lost portion of upper left teeth, poor thing, that must have hurt. Off shoulder stiff and sore. She doesn't get any therapy. Where's all the therapy that she's supposed to get? Just a bit of physio, making her do exercises won't treat all this. Right toe very swollen, left toe draining pus. Let's remember what the Edmonton Valley Zoo website says about Lucy's feet after all this. This is 29 years worth of bits of documents here, and it's continuous foot problems. Okay, right then, so I think that's enough for today. I don't think we want to depress ourselves with this too much. Is Lucy fit to travel? Let's end on a high. Yes, it is. I do believe it's possible to move Lucy. That's in 2016, that's in 2005. That's in 2022, and I've got another one in 2023 somewhere, but I think we all have got the idea. I really appreciate everybody bearing with me. Thank you.